FDNY's Special Operations Command started in 1990. It's a specialized unit dealing with complex rescue operations. In 1962, the fire department opened a fire college on Roosevelt Island. They started using the island as a training site because of an abundance of empty structures. The fire academy moved to Randall's Island in 1976, and the Roosevelt Island campus was raised. The AVAC, Automated Vacuum Assisted Collection, is the trash collection and disposal system used on Roosevelt Island. The AVAC got its start at a hospital in Sweden in 1961 and first came to the United States with an installation at Disney World's Magic Kingdom at the behest of Walt and Roy Disney. It's a series of underground pneumatic tubes that take the trash from residential buildings and deposits it in this central collection area. According to Department of Sanitation's Senior Stationary Engineer Larry Carrick, the amount of waste varies by day of the week, but on a weekly basis it amounts to about 50 tons of garbage, taken from two large tubes on the east and west sides. As with any public enterprise, it is subject to abuse. That's why there are signs in each building telling people who live there, please don't throw your hockey sticks, bed slats, and Christmas trees down the chute. We'll have more on this marvel of engineering in a separate video. The original residential buildings in the northern part of the island were known as the Wire Buildings, Westview, Island House, River Cross, and Eastview, built under the Mitchell-Lama housing program to provide affordable housing in a planned community. Island House opened in 1975. Eastwood, Westview, and River Cross opened the following year. The Wire Buildings lent their name to the local island biweekly newspaper, the Main Street Wire, delivered to all apartments free of charge. It was launched in 1991 by Dr. Jack Resnick, the Roosevelt Island doctor. Dr. Resnick was among the first wave of people who moved to the island. The paper ceased publication in 2019 after the death of longtime editor and publisher Dick Lutz in 2016 and his successor Brianna Warsing's relocation to London 3 years later. The next development to open in Northtown was Manhattan Park in 1989. It's a cluster of 5 buildings with both affordable and market-rate housing. When it was first announced, developers said that rents would be 10 to 15% below the prevailing rates on the east side. Today, the people who live in Manhattan Park joke that they pay $1,500 a month less, and they have the better view. Especially from the 18th floor sun decks, where you can not only grill and chill, you can see 4 other islands, Manhattan, Randall's, Ward's, and Long. Look to the northeast on a clear day, and you can even see the Whitestone and Throgs Neck bridges. And to the southeast, there's Big Alice, formerly known as the Ravenswood Generating Station, originally opened by Con Ed in February of 1963. Over the years, Roosevelt Island has been home to many houses of worship. In a previous video, we showed you the modern-day incarnation of the Episcopal Chapel of the Holy Spirit. There's also been the Catholic Chapel of Our Lady Consoler of the Afflicted and the Chapel of the Sacred Heart, now home to community tennis courts, the Lutheran Church of the Good Samaritan, the Council Synagogue funded by the National Council of Jewish Women, and at 543 Main Street, the granddaddy of them all, the Chapel of the Good Shepherd, donated by New York banker George N. Bliss to the Protestant Episcopal Mission Society in 1889. The chapel was designed by English architect Frederick Clark Withers, who came to the United States in 1852 at the invitation of renowned landscape designer Andrew Jackson Downing. Downing's design principles inspired the original 1857-1858 plans for Central Park. After serving in the Union Army and the Civil War, Withers joined Central Park designers Calvert Vaux and Frederick Law Olmsted in a partnership that lasted until 1871. In 1888, Withers formed a partnership with Walter Dixon. The two of them were supervising architects for the Board of Charities and Correction, and they designed several buildings on what was then Blackwell's Island, including the Strecker Memorial Laboratory, which we'll see in the 5th video in our series, and 3 brick structures for the almshouse. The chapel was built by Withers to serve the residents of the island almshouses, constructed for the city's destitute in the 1850s. The chapel could hold up to 400 worshipers. Men and women were required to enter the building separately and sat on their own designated sides of the church. The island's first library was on the lower level, as well as a robing room for clergy. Withers used a variety of building materials with subtle color variations to create a structure considered so beautiful that in the year following its opening, more than 2,000 people from across the globe came to visit. For more than 60 years, Good Shepherd served Protestant parishioners and staff. It closed its doors in 1958. Then, in 1969, the New York State Urban Development Corporation took ownership of the building, and 6 years later, in October of 1975, its restoration was complete. Today, it serves as a house of worship and as a community center for the island. On days when it gets too hot, it becomes the island's cooling center. It's also a place for concerts and community meetings. The bell from the chapel's bell tower is now displayed in the adjoining plaza. In the summertime, Good Shepherd Plaza serves as the location for the island's farmers market, with fruits, vegetables, and baked goods brought in from Pennsylvania by Wengert Farms, Italian specialties from Hoboken Farms, and lots more. The farmers market relocates under the Helix in winter months. In the mid-1600s, King James II awarded Varkins Island to Captain John Manning. When he died in 1685, ownership passed to his stepdaughter Mary Manningham Blackwell. So the island became known as Blackwell's Island, a name it would retain until 1921. According to the Landmarks Preservation Commission, Mary's descendants found themselves in dire financial straits after the Revolutionary War. In 1784, James Blackwell advertised that his 107-acre island was for sale, boasting 2 small houses, a cider mill, a large orchard, stone quarries, and running springs. He found no buyers. In 1796, the Blackwell family moved into the cottage known today as Blackwell House. It's the 6th oldest farmhouse in the entire city of New York, and the only building remaining from the days when the island was private property. The city purchased the island from the Blackwell family in 1828, and the house became the living quarters for wardens of the almshouse, hospitals, and penitentiary. There's a 2-story main section and a 1-story kitchen wing built soon after the completion of the main building. By the late 1960s, it was in a state of advanced disrepair. In 1973, the exterior was restored, and the interior renovation was completed in 2020. That's it for our visit to the part of Roosevelt Island known as Northtown. But don't head back into Manhattan just yet. Next up, we'll take a look at some of the newer parts of the island, the pieces that comprise Southtown, as well as the high point on the island, a very old building now serving a modern purpose, some wildlife, and a piece of the island past known to the locals as the Renwick Ruin. I'm Anita Bonita for Channel NYC.